So I hear from company leaders often that they get frustrated with employees who are not willing to try something new. And they see this potential in the employee, but they drag their feet, they second guess, they doubt, and it holds their employees back. So when you do something new, you're letting go of control. You're trying something, you're exercising a strength that you don't even know you have. It's laying dormant. And as I was thinking about this topic and just what a big difference it makes when you try, you let go of the outcome and you actually explore, and then you see after you do it that all these great things can come out of it, that that's very exciting, and it really is what a leader helps people to do. And we're all leaders. I mean, we all have influence in certain ways. So as I was thinking about just that concept of change and the fear of change, it reminded me of somebody that I know very well. Her name's Erica, and she's a guest today, and she's a travel expert who's been all over the world and helps people explore and expand and do new things. And so she's going to share with us today how to build confidence through travel. So it's travel your way to self-confidence. And I'm going to let her introduce herself in a second here, but she's got a whole bunch of stuff that she can share with you. And it's going to relate to this topic with your employees, with your team, with change in general. And so by the end of this podcast episode, Decide Your Legacy podcast episode, you're going to see and be inspired to see the value of trying something new, trying something different, and stretching yourself, and be willing to actually explore some areas where you may not have even thought that's an opportunity for growth in that specific situation. Facing a fear, doing something new, that's where it's at. So I'm Adam Gragg. This is the Decide Your Legacy podcast. I'm your host, and I'm a corporate coach, one-on-one coach. I've been a family therapist for 25, 26 years. My passion, the purpose of Decide Your Legacy, is helping organizations, businesses, and people live courageously. And the guest we have on today, she's somebody that I've seen firsthand take really bold steps to do things that a lot of people wouldn't actually do. And her stories today are going to really be inspiring to you. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce Erica. She's a Condé Nast top travel expert. She's been in the travel industry for, I think, close to 30 years. But let me introduce her, give her a chance. So will you tell us about yourself, Erica, and your business and things that you think the audience would like to know?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Adam. I am thrilled to be here in the Decide Your Legacy podcast. As Adam mentioned, my name is Erica Gragg. What he might have not mentioned is that I am Adam's sister. So he has had a firsthand opportunity to watch me as I've overcome my fears and gain my own confidence through travel. I am the co owner and founder of two travel businesses. One is called Escape to Shape Adventures in Wellness, where I lead small group travel experiences around the world to authentically engage and explore a culture while never compromising on comfort and on staying healthy along the way. And the second is called Escape Artists Travel, and that is a team of travel advisors that I oversee, and we curate bespoke travel adventures for solo travelers, small groups, couples, honeymoons, multi-gens, you name it, to anywhere in the world and even to space.
The space. Well, you're going to have
Yes,
to tell
that's
us
the next frontier
more.
of travel these
Oh
days.
my. So have you planned any
Yes.
of those trips yet?
I haven't, although I would love to, because they come with like a $3 to $8 million price tag. But there are companies that are already starting to take it reservations. But I have not been fortunate enough to book one yet. But I could if someone wants to.
Okay. That's pretty cool. So,
Yeah, it is
but I
cool.
do know there are a lot of really exotic places that you wouldn't have thought of that you have booked travel, and we can talk
Yes.
about some of that today. So I struggle with change. It is the fear of the unknown. I mean, what could happen that could go wrong? How can I be hurt? I mean, how can I experience something that I'm not prepared for? And I'm not the only person. Comfort, doing things new. I had a new thing this week, which was employing my daughter, and that's the first time
Ooh.
ever thing for me. And so there's been some anxiety with that. Like, I don't want to and I'm not the direct supervisor, which is really great because I think that could cause some challenges, but it was that risk to go ahead and say yes that made, and I believe, I don't know what the outcome's going to be, but I believe it's positive. I'm leaning on that. So we want to make intentional changes that are, and they will make a big difference in the long run. It's a long-term game. So we're going to go ahead and break this into 3 different sections. I'm going to ask questions to my sister, starting off with some of her beginnings and how it's impacted her confidence. And then I'm going to share something, how it relates to me as we go. And I'll just jump on in. So my fear of change, but what's the fear that people have about travel all about, Erica?
I think it has a lot to do with control. It has a lot to do with routine, and it has a lot to do with the fear of unknown. And maybe the third one, the fear of the unknown, is perhaps the most profound of all of those. I think anytime it's the most profound, but it's also that moment where travel really can change you and transform you. Anytime we do something that's outside of our comfort zone, anytime we surprise ourselves, that's really where the magic happens, that's where the growth happens, and that's where the self-confidence is built. So I would say that for most people, we live with a sense of wanting to understand our environment at all times and control that. So the moment that you introduce the aspect of travel, you're shaking that up a bit.
So are you saying that the bigger the fear, the more the growth opportunity?
I personally believe that, and I have seen that in myself as well.
Okay. So
Yes.
did you always feel confident with travel?
You know what? I didn't actually. As you know, we didn't grow up going to exotic locations around the world, and it wasn't until I started to get my feet wet and visit other parts of the world that were so incredibly different than the place I come from, that I started to open my eyes to how similar we all are around the world, and yet how our differences sometimes can be um, expanded when you from afar. Until you get to know another culture, you realize how similar you are, but the differences can seem so huge and so profound from far away. And it wasn't until I started to get that travel bug that I realized that there was so much more to the world out there, and there was such a better version of myself that I could explore as well through witnessing myself in other cultures and in other countries. So you know, even something as simple as a fear of flying, which is a very deep-seated fear for many people, for myself included,
That you have still to this
that
day,
I have. I still
which
have a fear of
shocks
flying to
people,
this day,
because
which
how many
does
miles
shock
do you
people.
travel a year?
Oh my gosh,
I mean,
I mean, within a month, sometimes take 18 flights. I mean,
I know, but
I'm on a plane a lot.
how often do you
Um,
cancel a flight because of your fear?
I only cancel a flight because of weather typically. If I can see that it's really bad weather, then I will cancel it. And that happens maybe like once a year.
Okay.
Yeah, once a year. And again, it comes back to that control thing again, because do I really think that we're going to drop out of the sky from bad weather? No, but I just don't like the feeling of that it really triggers a fear in me. But I will say that I still get on a plane and I still go because I really, really love where I arrive to. And
Mhm,
I would never want to take away that sense of exploration, that sense of discovery, that element of surprise. I'm always feeding my own curiosity
mhm.
through my love of travel. So my fear of flying is outweighed by my, probably, I guess you could say, FOMO, fear of missing out, of
Okay.
getting to this other place. But I think it's an example of, I had to get over that fear somewhat to be able to do what I'm doing, but it doesn't mean that the fear's gone. It just means that I'm bigger than the fear. And that has given me, I can out I can outwit the fear, let's say. And that has given me a lot of confidence.
And
So yeah.
okay, well, do you always kind of keep in the back of your mind that you could cancel the flight though? You have an exit plan?
Less and less, but I guess it's always kind of there. but less and less do I have that. I have I have discovered some apps that have really helped me to navigate my fear of flying in terms of giving me access. I feel that knowledge is power. So there's a few apps that are out there that I'm happy to share with anyone who's interested that you can subscribe to, and you can put in your starting flight and your ending flight and the airline, and it will tell you the perceived, like the projected route, and how much travel, how much turbulence to expect. Because I'm not fear of my fear of flying is not flying itself, it's actually turbulence, because it
Mhm.
triggers a panic reaction in me. And so I have found that knowing when to expect the turbulence really helps me to be
Okay.
able to relax through it. So, just like there's things that you
Mm,
can do at home to help gain confidence with traveling to a foreign country, these apps help me to gain confidence
mm.
and comfort when I'm on the plane.
Okay, because you know you're gonna have 10 minutes of turbulence and you're prepared for it,
Exactly.
and you know it's not
Yes.
permanent.
Exactly. And I
What if the
know,
pilot steps
yeah.
out and says, "You know what? This turbulence, it's so horrible, it's gonna be the next 4 hours of the flight."
Yeah, I mean, that is not a great feeling for me.
Right.
Like, to know that that's going to happen. And I would probably say that, I've gotten much better at it, but I would probably be, if I saw on the app that the whole flight is going to be
You're
turbulent,
probably
I
canceling.
might not go on that
Is
plane.
that the
Yeah.
flight you had from Milan? Did you cancel that because of weather? Because
I
we were gonna
one
record this
time,
last week.
no, I did not cancel that. The airline canceled it. I
Okay.
had nothing to do with that. Their plane had been grounded due to a delay. So I did not cancel that.
So when can you think of an early moment when you realize, like, this travel stuff is helping me to grow in my
Um,
confidence, grow in as a person?
yes, I would probably say the first time that I really felt it was when I was in Morocco for the first time, which would be almost 18 years ago. And Marrakesh at that time was, and it still is, incredibly exotic, but at that time, even more so. And I was very scared. Not that I thought that anything was going to happen to me. I was just scared to venture out by myself into the souks, which are the
Mhm.
markets. I was scared to go anywhere by myself. So I always had to have my now husband with me, or a guide with me, or somebody with me, because I was
Nope.
definitely like a deer in the headlights when I got into this exotic marketplace, which is really the center of the Moroccan culture, are these markets. And we spent 2 months there, and by like the seventh or the sixth or seventh week, I remember having a very eye opening experience of, wow, this isn't actually scary. And I'm okay here. I can figure this out even if I don't speak the language. And if I don't, if this is so foreign to me. And that was very eye opening because I accomplished something. I overcame my fear. I became bigger than my fear. And to this day, Morocco is one of my favorite places in the whole entire world, and I consider Marrakesh a second home. It's
Mhm.
like whenever I arrive there, I feel like I have come home. So, it really was an incredible experience for me, and I remember that person who was just, was being ripped off in the marketplace and couldn't make a decision, didn't know what to do. I was very much afraid, and I overcame that.
And how is that connected to the fact that you had a huge breakthrough in Marrakesh? Because what if that huge breakthrough was in, you know, another country? It was in Antarctica on a cruise, or would
And
that be
it could
it
have been. I
could be
mean,
anywhere you go because you realize you can handle it.
right. It
In
could
that
have, it
situation,
just, for
yeah.
me, it happened to be Marrakesh. And I think it's because that was so incredibly different. Like, Europe has a lot of similarities to our life in North America. So being in Italy or being in Spain didn't feel as exotic to me personally, which
Mhm.
doesn't mean that it wouldn't feel very exotic to somebody else. But Marrakesh was that a trip that I
You
felt like it was, when I got there, it was very exotic. And I was like, wow, like
yeah,
I'd never seen anything like that before. And so that was a pivotal point for me.
and you had a
And
breakthrough there.
I had a breakthrough there. I definitely had a breakthrough there. And because of that breakthrough, my mind opened up to traveling to further, traveling deeper, traveling to far more exotic locations.
Mhm.
And that is something that for me has been tremendously rewarding, and has increased my confidence, increased my growth,
Mhm.
increased my transformation as a human.
So what's your advice or encouragement to somebody who is afraid and even has an idea that maybe they've heard bad things about travel and everything, but they, for some reason, have this mindset that it's going to go bad? What's your advice to them?
I would say to start small, to start local. Maybe explore a nearby city or town that you hadn't thought about exploring before. Just to kind of not go. You don't have to go so far in order to get incredible transformation or growth. So maybe it's something as trying a new city that's within driving distance to you, or going to restaurants to try new cuisine that you might not have thought of. I actually found that to be really inspiring for myself. I never had thought about going to Myanmar until I ate at a Burmese restaurant, So, and I think that that could be a nice way to whet your appetite, so to speak, literally and figuratively. Other ways to do it could be as simple as maybe you've never tried public transportation in your own hometown, but get on the subway or get on the metro or get on a bus. Do something that's going to take you out of your
Mm,
comfort zone, but still keep you close enough to home to where you feel safe
mhm,
still. I think nowadays we live in a world where there's so many cultural festivals or events that are taking place. Perhaps go to one of those.
mm.
Maybe you go to eat dinner by yourself somewhere or go and eat lunch by yourself. Dining solo is something that some people never have done in their life, and it can become an element of travel and do it closer to home. Um, Nowadays on like YouTube or online, you can find a dance class that you could download. Like maybe you're going to take Bollywood dancing or salsa dancing, and you don't want to go. They don't offer it in your hometown, but you could do it online, and that gets you used to a new culture, or
That's a big
even
deal.
yeah, or simple things like reading a travel memoir or watching a travel documentary
There's
or watching a movie that's in a different language with subtitles. These are little things that you could do that could actually make a huge difference because they might inspire you to want to go further. They'll challenge you mentally, they'll challenge your comfort zone. And again, coming back to that
mhm.
idea that the do something different to like surprise yourself. It's
So is that
amazing.
something you advise people to start doing now who are you're planning
Yes.
trips for, to start doing some
Yes.
things that are uncomfortable in a sense?
Absolutely.
Get
If
them
now
out of that.
I have some clients who are very well traveled, who have traveled all the
Yeah.
time. So this is the stuff they do anyways. They're always eating at an Indian restaurant. They don't need me to tell them. But there are a lot of clients that I get that are new to travel and just starting to get their feet wet. And they're curious. So that's why
Mhm.
they've reached out to me, but they're not comfortable yet. So these would be some of the things that I would advise them to do to help uh, you know, to continue to pique their curiosity, but to help them to still feel comfortable.
Yeah, that's really cool because, as I think about this for somebody who's afraid of change in general, some of the advice that I would get, that I would give is to just admit that you're afraid, admit it. I mean, I think
Yeah.
I went most of my life to not admit that I had many problems and at least verbally, because my fear was to expose that and then it be seen as weakness. And even
Mm.
now, I don't want to admit like, oh, that's uncomfortable for me. I'll just do it. I'll
Right.
eat anything. I'm saying, I'll eat anything. Give me whatever. I'll
Right.
do whatever. But that is not reality. And plus, it's a phony. And you're being able to admit that you're afraid of flying, afraid of travel, afraid of hiring your daughter, afraid of
Right.
somebody being not liking you. I mean, you can admit that. It doesn't mean you're going to be consumed by it. So
Right.
that's kind of on the same line of reasoning right here. Like do something and then even admit that you are afraid to eat it, but eat it anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
it's gotta be something. So, little side note here, since you are my sister, anything that you would like to share that would be interesting for the audience to know about how you treated me as a child?
It's the other way around. Even though I am the older sister, Adam was always bigger than me. So therefore, he got away with, being the big brother and possibly not, he was not a bully to me, but he definitely, one time he bit me. He doesn't remember this, but
I
he
was like
did
4
fight me.
probably. I
I
don't
think
have
you're a little
any
older than
remembrance
4.
of that event at all. Yeah, I was like 17 and I bit you. That's
No, no, that's true. He was
no.
probably like maybe 13 or something, or 12.
No way. I was like
I think
3. I have no recollection. I would not have bit you when I was 13. There is no way.
okay, at one point he bit me, and he did like to have parties. And I was like such a
Ah,
goody two shoes that I was like gonna go try. I wanted to tattletale on him,
you
but my
exposed
parents
me
left
to
us
that.
alone.
Your
I
friends my sister was a senior when I was a freshman in high school, okay? And she was like a popular senior, and I thought that was really cool. And so she exposed me to all these seniors that
That's true.
were not necessarily the best people for a freshman to be hanging out with. They were
Oh,
good
that was
people.
my
No, no,
senior
I'm
friend.
not saying they're bad, but no, they were guys who were obviously 4
Yeah,
years older than me, and I was like, I'll hang out
right.
with you guys. But anyway,
Yeah.
but they were
But
good.
actually, the truth of the matter is that actually you were a born leader even then. Even though, yes, as a freshman, you wanted to be like the freshman brother of the senior. But over the years, you became very cool in your own right. You didn't need me.
Well, hey, I appreciate that. So let's go into the second
You're
part here.
welcome.
So this is how you've grown through travel challenges that you've faced, and really for anybody, how they've grown through change. So what's something travel has taught you that nothing else could have?
Oh gosh. Well, I know I've mentioned it's been the biggest example of stepping out of my comfort zone, not only because of the flying, but just because, you are a complete fish out of water when you travel and you go to these other cultures, from the language to the food to the customs. So stepping out of my comfort zone has been a huge gift that travel has helped me, has brought to me. I would also say that, and this has been very important to me, the cultural awareness, just recognizing how
Okay.
lucky we are in certain ways, but also how beautiful other cultures are, especially like how, like, I look at cultures like Cambodia or India and how they take care of their elders. We don't have that as much here in the United States. So cultural awareness from the differences, the strengths, the weaknesses of both our country and other countries has become much more evident to me.
So are you saying you want mom and dad to live with you and Francesco?
I'm not necessarily saying that, but I actually would be so, so happy if we had like a commune or a compound. So yes, I would be more than happy to have mom and dad come and live with us.
Good luck with keeping dad in line. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, that would
Exactly.
be you'd have to go into it with a lot of flexibility.
Right. I would love though.
You,
If they want to come
yeah,
live here with me, I would love that.
that's amazing because it is that way in a lot of cultures.
Yeah,
So
and it's
yeah,
not that way in the US.
and you
It's
wouldn't
not
learn that
naturally.
unless, yeah,
Right.
you can't learn things basically unless you actually experience it. And you
Yes,
see the different cultures and
exactly.
you realize you have all these assumptions, and then you're there and you realize a lot of those assumptions probably aren't even true, I would imagine.
Yeah. Oh
So,
my gosh, absolutely. Like what you read and what you actually experience, I have found to be completely two different
yeah,
things. So that has been incredible. It's a perspective shift,
yeah.
and that's been really important to me. Um, Really an incredible gift. So I have found that there is so much expansiveness that comes from travel.
So some people come back from a trip, a vacation, let's say, and they're rejuvenated and they feel young and have ideas and they just feel energized and they seem
Yes.
energized. And some people I've seen come back from vacations and feel drained. And I'm thinking, well, why'd
Ooh.
you even schedule that vacation? I mean, it's both.
Yeah.
I'm not saying with you.
Yeah.
I'm just saying just
No,
hearing
I know.
friends
Yeah.
and
No, I
people.
hear
So
you. Definitely.
what is that all about?
I mean, I think that that has more to do with, uh, I mean, I don't know. Being drained after your vacation to me signifies that maybe you overbooked your vacation,
Mm,
that maybe you did not leave room for the spontaneity that can come from travel that you might have planned. And I have seen families, particularly with, teen or younger children, they want to take their children to Europe for the first time. And what do? They plan two activities a day, a lunch and a dinner, and it's just too much. It's like,
mhm,
you need to leave some time in your itinerary for spontaneity, for relaxation, to recharge, to take a nap, to balance out the holiday, so that it's not just about going, going, going.
mhm.
As much as everyone loves to go, I think that there does come a point where you just kind of need to take a break. So personally, if I if I see someone who comes home that's completely destroyed from their holiday, I think that they probably tried to do too
Mhm,
much in too little of a
mhm.
time. Now,
And
of course,
yeah.
I don't know that for sure, but that would be what I would guess that I would attribute it to.
And so what, because they look at the itinerary and you've planned a number of trips for me and Emerson personally. And I remember
Yes.
seeing when we went to Italy, I looked at our schedule in Rome and I remember thinking, that's it? We're going to the yeah, what? You're going to the Colosseum in the morning and then we're going to this, and like that's it?
The Vatican, right? Yeah.
It's all, I'm really curious. Yeah, like the vet, yeah, but in one day, okay. But me not knowing and having been to Rome at all, it makes sense. But what do people miss out on when they jam pack their schedule with too much?
I think they miss out on all of the magical moments that can happen when you don't have a plan, such as wander. And this is actually a great way to build confidence when you're traveling as well. Wandering through a neighborhood and allowing yourself to get lost a little bit. Use your GPS and like find your way. Stopping at a cafe that looks really enticing or that looks charming, or going into a flower shop, or stopping to like letting the day take seeing where the day will take you. If you don't leave room on your itinerary for that, often you miss out because you're just scheduled, and you never really get you be that's what defines a tourist and a traveler to me. A
Mhm.
tourist is someone who's just checking things off their list. A traveler who is someone who has a few things that are like anchors to their itinerary, things they really know they want to see and they want to do, but then they allow room for the trip to just sort of take on its own life as well. So maybe wandering, maybe
Taking a nap,
yes, taking a nap. I mean, a
reading a
nap is a
book.
luxury. Reading a book. I mean, going to the spa, maybe. Having a long leisurely meal rather than having it like, especially if you go to Europe, you see the local Europeans, they have long leisurely lunches, they have long late dinners. Like a lot of times, as in our culture, we're so used to in America that like, hey, we eat for efficiency and then we go. And why not go European and do it like the Europeans for a few meals at least and really live like a local. I think it's such a gift to allow yourself the opportunity to live like a local from time to time on in your travels.
So, is there any strategy you'd give to people if they wanted to make the most of that free time? Like these
Well,
things you should make
I
sure
mean,
you do,
I
or
would say do something that you love. So during that free time, but listen to your body as well. So I have a wellness business as well. So a travel wellness. So I think it's really important that we listen to our body when we're traveling, especially when we're hopping time zones, because jet lag is a real thing. So I would say that I can give you some ideas of things to do, but really, ultimately, it should come down to what you feel like doing. Maybe it's something that caught your eye, like there was a cooking class that's taking place, or a dance class, or a movie that they're showing in a park in Paris, and you didn't have that on your schedule, but you allowed some time for these things so that you can do them.
that's a
Or
big deal.
you love coffee, you want to sit and go into a cafe, or
You know,
you love a museum that you didn't plan to go to and you walk past it and
I
you're seeing that.
as I look back on these trips you guys have planned for us, I am so grateful that the agenda was set for me and it wasn't so jam packed. Because when we went to London and Great Britain, we had free time. When we went, you guys planned one to Chicago for me and one to New York City and one, and all of those things had so much room for flexibility. And I've learned
Right.
to love that, and having it done for me made such a
Yeah.
huge difference because I knew you knew where to eat, you knew where to go. And then
Right.
you got me great deal. You got me really great discounts on great hotels.
That's true.
I
That's true. And I think
Not
that's
that
a
you would give
perfect
that to anybody,
example.
but
Yeah.
it's a benefit of
No.
being your brother, I think, frankly.
Right. And we
So,
always try to get people. I mean, we do have access to some special rates for I'm not every
sure.
hotel, but for a lot of them. So, and your itineraries are a perfect example of you had enough to anchor your itinerary. So, like you were going to see the must sees, you were going to see them in an authentic way, but you also had some time to. I remember like one afternoon in Paris that Emerson and I went shopping and just sat and had cappuccinos. I mean, like that wasn't on the itinerary, but we did that.
Mhm.
So it's good to have some hours of free time.
So people on trips out here, just in general, people don't like conflict. I mean, would you say you're strong-willed, Erica?
Oof. I mean, yes, I guess anyone has to be strong-willed in certain ways to get things done and accomplished, but I'm
Yeah.
also, I mean, I'm flexible though. So it's like, especially, I'm not strong-willed when it comes to, I guess it depends on what it is. Let's put it that
Okay.
way.
So what is it when people are on a trip and there might be some conflict? How have you seen people grow through conflict?
Oh, I mean, I don't. Oh, okay, okay. I see what you're saying. Like, you mean on an escape to shape trip if I've seen
Escape the shape
conflict?
trip or yeah, or with their family and they
Yeah.
are around
I
these
mean,
people so much and how they have actually
okay.
they don't see them all the time in that setting where they're all
Right.
together.
I mean, I haven't been in those situations because I'm not on the trip with the families that are doing these trips. So, but I would say that one thing that there's two things that I have found that families on trips or couples will fight about. One is not having anything planned, and the second is having too much planned. And I know that sounds kind of crazy, but I hear this constantly. They're like, okay, we need to have some kind of plan. We can't just wing it the whole entire time, like whether it's the car that picks us up from the airport and like a meal every day or an activity, one activity a day. Some people really need that so that their children have an itinerary or that the couple has something to look forward to together. And then it kind of ties into what we were saying earlier, but on the converse of that is you also need to have some downtime. So it's a fine balance, and I have been lucky to strike it for people typically by listening to what my clients have to say to me and hearing that, okay, these people need more activity, but still some downtime, or these people need no, like just a few things. And, but those are honestly the two things that I see families and couples fighting about is not enough planned or too much planned.
And I see people when it comes to change, they're afraid that they're gonna well, maybe with travel, they're gonna get stuck somewhere at an airport, or
Right.
something's gonna happen with their reservations, or in
Right.
change in general, they're gonna have a meltdown, or they're gonna look
Yes.
foolish, or they're gonna and even that conflict thing. So how can people grow through those experiences, and how is that a part of building confidence?
Well, I think that it definitely helps build your confidence if you have to problem solve in real time, which is what you have to do if your flight's delayed or canceled. You have to navigate this on your own with the airline, with the missed flight, with the language barrier, with the lost luggage. Um, all of that is things that you have to problem solve in real time, which then will help you to gain more confidence. Now, of course, as a travel advisor, part of my job is to help minimize the stress that that puts on people. So, if I booked a flight for someone and they miss their flight or their flight is canceled, like I'm the person who's handling that. But not everybody has a me. So,
Mhm.
that's where they have to do it themselves. And it may seem so simple to some people, like, well, of course I have to manage myself if I miss my flight or if my luggage is lost. But those are huge things. I mean, you're stressed out, you're sometimes jet lagged and exhausted or stressed out just getting to the airport, and then your flight's canceled. I mean, and then you have to navigate that. We have to give credit where credit's due. It's a huge thing to have to navigate, and it's a huge accomplishment. So that would help build confidence, I would imagine,
Because they realize they can get through it. Just like you
Exactly.
realize you could survive and make it work in
Yep.
Marrakesh,
Yep.
and it worked out. So,
Exactly, exactly. And it can also look at it like some people travel with, I have some clients that are heading out to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. I mean, they've never climbed 20,000 feet before, and they've never probably slept in tents, and imagine they chose to do this, obviously, but this is a solo journey that they're doing that I can only imagine is going to feel like a huge sense of accomplishment and personal victory, and increase their self-worth and their self-confidence after they do it. But they
mm,
probably are nervous about it,
yeah,
but they're,
that's a
yeah,
big deal. So
that's
I
a big
can
one.
if somebody wants to grow through challenges, to me, one of the best pieces of advice, they want to grow through change, is to allow themselves to not just admit that they're afraid, but to feel afraid. And to
Yeah.
feel uncomfortable and like to be frustrated. But if you allow yourself to feel it, then you can actually work through it better and know. For example, I meet a lot of people. They want to have their lives set up to a point where they don't have any bothers anymore. Like I don't
Hmm.
want, like it's kind of this mentality that When I have enough money, I'm not going to have problems. Or when I have
Good
enough
luck.
friends, I'm not going to have
Yeah.
problems. When I have you can put anything in there. When I have this one part of I learned this one aspect of my job, then I'm not going to have any stress anymore. But if you think that no, I'm going to have the things that bother me, they're always going to be there, but I am equipped to handle them. That's more empowering because then I've been
Yeah.
through it before. There's times in my life I think I've already been through different challenging things. This isn't nearly as big of a deal because I've already gotten through it before. And I think that's what travel can do, change can do to you. So last part of
Yes.
this here. So let now there's a lot of myths about travel, I believe, that people think of. And I have a lot of myths that I believe and did believe, and I've had times where I've been just terrified of travel, terrified of change in my life and just wanting to avoid anything that resembled change. So if you so to address some of these myths, like what kind of person, and this is going to address what kind of person makes the best travel companion, Erica?
Ooh, I mean, somebody that you can be your authentic self with, someone that you feel really comfortable being able to show, all sides of your personality to, but also someone who's very respectful of space, very respectful of not needing to have you by their side the whole time because maybe you're tired and you need to take a nap, or maybe you have a certain interest that doesn't match theirs. Someone who can be a little bit independent. Um, the answer to this though really is very personal. Like because maybe somebody doesn't want somebody who's independent. Maybe somebody who wants someone who's by their side the whole entire time. Um, so I would definitely consider having conversations about what your particular travel style is with someone before you travel with them. For example, do you need to be planned the whole time? Do you like to have some free time? What is your budget? I have often found that travel partners can sometimes one of the main things they can disagree on is budget, because one has an idea in mind of what they can spend and the other one can't spend that or wants to spend more than that. So these are all valid qualities and valid concerns, but it's good to have a conversation before you set out on the trip so that you're not disappointed. No one wants to feel like I personally, I don't want to feel like I have to babysit someone when I'm on a trip with them. So I want them to have a certain level of, I mean, I babysit people on trips all the time. Babysitting is the wrong word because they're independent, travelers who are, very capable of doing it on their own. But like, I think that if I was looking for a travel partner, I would want someone um, who has the same interests in me to a certain extent, but is also comfortable enough to spend some time by themselves too.
Okay. And do you find are there any other myths that people believe oftentimes that you hear as you talk to people getting ready to explore, going on a trip, and
I
it's
mean,
not true, but
yeah.
they believe it's true?
Yeah, I think that the myths that I've heard more often than not have to do with the countries that they're traveling to more than a myth about travel itself. I for one had a myth about India before I had a preconceived notion about traveling to India that everyone who goes to India gets sick, and you hear like, oh, there's going to be poverty everywhere. And the truth of the matter is that India is my most favorite country that I've ever been to. I am obsessed with India. I have now been, some 8 times or something, and I was scared to death to go, but ended up going, and went and really immediately fell in love. Knock on whatever my table's made out of. I've never gotten sick. We've hosted Escape to Shapes there multiple times. No one's ever gotten sick. If you know where to eat, and it's just like anywhere. I mean, I got sick at a five-star Michelin restaurant chef in New York City, in February. So it's not like it's impossible to get sick anywhere. But, okay, would I eat street food in India? Absolutely not. But India
Mm,
is a really multifaceted country full of contradictions, from the richest rich to the poorest poor and everything in between. And it is absolutely positively an incredible country and culture to experience. And I was held back for large portion of my life because of the fear and the myth that I had
Okay.
caught on to, that I had
So how
attached
do
to.
you
So,
overcome that?
well, I
If
had
you
to
believe
go.
you had
Yeah.
to go, I know, but what if
Yeah.
somebody's getting ready for a trip and you know they're believing all these things that aren't true, how bad it's gonna go, or these people or this culture or whatever. What do you advise them to do to start breaking those myths before they go on the journey?
First of all, I would never I never make the final choice for someone on where they're going to go. So I would never force, or not that I could ever, but I would never coerce or try to convince someone to go to a country that they don't feel comfortable going to, because I
Mhm.
just don't think
Yeah.
that if you're not feeling called to that country, then you shouldn't. I'm not here to
Mhm.
sell you to go there, because there's so
Yeah.
many other places to go in
Yeah,
the
but
world.
let's say you know they wanna go, go because you can kinda
Okay.
get a sense, like, I know they
Yeah.
really want to do like, they really want to go to Antarctica for
Yeah.
some crazy reason, but they're believing certain things about the trip.
Okay.
Maybe the myth they're
Yes.
believing is, like, it's just really easy or whatever. It's like, how can you get them
Right.
to reality? Or they wanna go on a safari and they believe it's just this simple thing. I mean, how does
Right.
somebody get to unpack and I like to say you're getting space from your thoughts and your feelings so you can look at them accurately, but what do you do in your industry to help them do that? Because you know they wanna
That's
get there.
yeah, that's a very good question. I mean, I would kind of go back to some of these baby steps that I mentioned earlier, like, can you watch a TV show or read a book? And I often do give TV show recommendations or podcast recommendations or book recommendations to my clients. Um, or try the local cuisine. I do think that it's really fun. I go back to that idea of like a dance class, but it is a fun idea to take a virtual dance class that no one's watching you and you can do it, and it kind of gets you into the headspace of having fun with that culture too. Or maybe it's a cooking class that's virtual on that culture's cuisine, something where you didn't have to travel beyond the comfort of your own home, but you're being exposed to the culture in little bits from
Mhm.
afar. I would say that if that's like your goal, let's say it was Antarctica or let's say it was India, those would be very accessible ways to start to become more familiar and more comfortable with the journey that you are so interested in taking but are fearful of taking.
Start with something small. So you mentioned
Yeah.
Antarctica. How long are you in that Drake's Passage on the trip?
24 to 48 hours on average. And Drake's Passage is either Drake Lake, meaning that it's crystal clear and you won't even feel a bump, or it's the Drake Shake, which means that you are strapped into your bed, like, thrown all around. So that's why you're strapped
Is
into
that a
your bed.
myth, like, you can't leave your room?
That
That
is not a myth.
that is
That is
not a
not a
myth?
myth.
Okay.
That is not a myth.
You just
No.
scared some people. Why do people
Yeah, yeah,
wanna go
yeah.
to Antarctica?
Well, Antarctica is really incredibly remote, very incredibly exotic, not in the culture, but in the majestic beauty of the icebergs. There's also Antarctica is melting, so there's this fear that Antarctica won't be what Antarctica, it has been. Of course, the penguins are a huge draw,
Okay.
because you do see these colonies of baby penguins and penguins. I mean, the whales, the kayaking through the iceberg. It is it's like a last frontier for a lot of people. It's a part of the world that is so remote and so untouched by mankind. Thankfully, that
Mhm.
the experience that you have there is really unparalleled when it comes to a natural experience, a,
So,
a nature experience.
you have not been to Antarctica yet?
I have not been to
Okay,
Antarctica.
just
I have
plan
planned
trips.
many Antarcticas, and
Okay,
I would
so
love to go to Antarctica,
you
actually.
would love to go. Okay, so how many countries have you been to?
I have been to 96 countries.
And what's the last country that you went to that was the first time you had been to that country?
Oh, goodness. That is a really good question. The last country I had been to that was the first time I'd been to that country. Well, I just got back from a trip that was not that. Oh my gosh, Adam, that's a really good question. The
Okay.
last country I've been to that was the first time I've been to
You
that
can
country.
you can think
It's
about
been
it.
a long time,
You've
actually.
been to a lot of repeat countries in
I've
recent
been to a lot
yeah,
of repeat countries. I mean, I'm headed to Rwanda in August, which is a
uh-huh.
repeat. Um, I am headed to Turkey. I'm headed to Greece. I just got back from France, Croatia, Italy. Um, yeah, I mean, I've been to yeah, that's a really good question. I can't answer that, but I can tell you some countries that I'm excited to go to add to my list.
What are those?
So that would be Australia, New Zealand, Uzbekistan. I'd like to go back to other parts of India that I haven't been to before. Uh, yeah, those are like my top four
Cool.
places right now.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you think about, and just kind of summarizing things here, when for the audience, like when you think about making changes in your life, you're if you can see the benefit and you can see that there's this possibility to let go of the myths, let go of things that are perspectives that may not be accurate, and you see how you can grow even if you're miserable at times, like even if you get stuck, even if you get lost. And those are it's powerful to know. To me, it's really encouraging to look back and say that experience that was really challenging, I'm also very grateful for.
Yes, I agree.
I'm really
I
grateful.
absolutely
So
agree.
so
Yeah,
yeah, so let
I
me go ahead and
think
summarize the 3 points that I made about change. So admit you're afraid, be willing to say you're afraid, and be willing to feel what you're feeling and not hide from it. So you're not going to take it out on everybody else. You're actually able to admit it and then say to yourself, like, it's okay to feel this way right now. It's okay to feel uncomfortable. And then to feel like you're going to put some energy into letting go of the myth. So you're actually exposing yourself to say, like, it may not be completely accurate. I'm willing to do it anyway and see what the outcome might be afterwards. So, and if you found this content helpful and confidence or growing your confidence is encouraging, exciting to you and everything, check out Shatterproof Yourself Light. It's a free mini course that I have designed, and it's 7 small steps to a giant leap in your mental health. And you go through that in the worksheet and fill in your answers. You're going to find that helpful when it comes to making changes because part of that addresses the emotion, and they're like little 2 minute clips basically. So 2 minute clips fill in the worksheet, addresses letting go of the emotion, changing your perspective, letting go of like things that have happened that are bad in the past, which I can imagine, Erica, like someone has a bad trip or whatever, a bad experience, and they may want to hold on to that. And
right,
and
right.
I think that's where having somebody like you can be helpful because you can help them see clearly
Yeah,
that that's not actually the accurate
right, right.
perspective on the whole thing. So
Absolutely.
so any kind of crazy travel experience that we'd never learn about you unless you actually shared it right now that you could share with the audience?
Oh, well, I've already shared I was like afraid of flying and that I was afraid of India, but I will all I have to say is that in all honesty, I have never regretted any trip I've ever taken that every single from the smallest little road trip to the 3 or 5 month journey because I've been on those before. They come with challenges. There's highs and there's lows, but the highs absolutely outweigh the lows. 100%. And I'm going to quote two of my favorite travel quotes. One is we travel initially to lose ourselves, and we travel next to find ourselves by Pico Iyer from Why We Travel. And I think that absolutely beautifully captures the transformative nature of travel. And the second one is travel isn't always pretty, it isn't always comfortable. Sometimes it hurts, it even breaks your heart, but that's okay. The journey changes you. It should change you. It leaves marks on your memory, on your consciousness, on your heart, and on your body. You take something with you. Hopefully, you leave something good behind by the late Anthony Bourdain. And I think these two perfectly sum up why I travel and why I hope that you will all travel too.
So I know how to reach you, Erica, and I'm going to see you on Saturday, Emerson and I, for the first time in a while. How long has it been? I guess it's been a bit, 6 months, five
Christmas,
months,
yeah, like the holidays,
Christmas.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. So how can somebody reach you if they want to use you as their use your business as a resource?
Yes, absolutely. So I have two websites. One is www.escape2shape.com, completely spelled out. And the other is www.escapeartists with an S travel.com. I'm also on Instagram at Escape Artist Travel, at Erica Gragg, at Escape to Shape.
Okay. And then two things you guys do is one is the travel agent service and also these escapes at these really cool countries all
Yeah.
over the place that you can go on yourself. So there's no change in your life, positive long-term change without taking action. A lot of times people think insight's going to help them make change, but it's taking action. You start taking action right away. So if you learned something that you learned today that was inspiring, whether it's challenging your mindsets, doing something new, taking a small step, apply it. Don't wait. Like, do something soon with it, because that's how you're really going to change. And it'll make a big difference, because, your legacy, that means the impact your life has on other people. And deciding means that you're committing to something, you're committing to doing something, eliminating other options. So you have all these things that come at you, and you decide to go on this trip. You decide to commit, and that means you're eliminating other options. That's how you make long-term positive change. So I want to close the way I always do. Live the life today that you want to be remembered for 10 years after you're gone. You decide your legacy, nobody else. I appreciate you greatly, and I'll see you next time.